Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. And it was last season that Joe Flacco was named the comeback player of the year after sparking the Cleveland Browns and helping lead them to the postseason. Now, a lot of people believe the Browns didn't want to bring Flacco back because they didn't want Deshaun Watson looking over his shoulder as soon as he struggled. So Flacco joined the Indianapolis Colts to play behind second-year quarterback Anthony Richardson. Now Richardson struggled mightily with his accuracy during the season. So it was 2 games ago that the Colts and Shane Steichen decided to bring Joe Flacco as the starter over and bench Anthony Richardson. Well, through 2 games, the results haven't been that good. Of course, yesterday, the Buffalo Bills defeated the Indianapolis Colts 30-20, dropping the Colts to 4-6. We see Flacco, good completion percentage, but 3 interceptions, took 4 sacks, an ugly 21.9 QBR, and he also had a fumble loss. So that's 4 turnovers in the defeat. And the previous game, 21-13, the Vikings defeated them. Flacco, no touchdowns and an interception. And look at his QBR, 16.3. So even worse than it was yesterday against the Bills. 1 interception and a fumble loss. So do the math. 4 interceptions, 4 turnovers yesterday. 2 turnovers the previous week. He has 6 turnovers in 2 games since being announced as the Indianapolis Colts starter over Anthony Richardson. Now, it wasn't too long ago that I actually did a video on Richardson because there was a chance that he could have the lowest completion percentage, I believe, in the Super Bowl era. As you see, he's only completed 44.4% of his passes, but what he does do is, despite the low completion percentage, 7.2 yards per attempt isn't bad. As you see, 16.2 yards per completion. Um, 37.2 QBR isn't great, but it's better than Flacco's been the last 2 games. We see his rushing numbers on the year, 242 rushing yards in his 6 starts, averaging 5.9 yards per carry. So, yes, Anthony Richardson was having one of the lowest completion percentages of all time, but he's the guy you selected with the 4th overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft. And yes, you're 4-6. And yes, there are winnable games on the schedule. We take a look. Really, the only mighty challenging one of those last 7 games is the Detroit Lions. I believe they're the only team over 500, as I think Denver's 5-5, so they are 500. So yes, there are a lot of winnable games on the schedule, but if Flacco plays the last 2 games, I mean, let's say they even were to find a way to go. I mean, in the AFC, 5-2 to go 9-8 might be good enough to make the playoffs, maybe. But even if they do, are the Colts going to be any type of threat once they get there? I get it. I mean, I'm a Giants fan who kind witnessed 2 Super Bowls where the Giants weren't necessarily seen as the favorite heading into it, but nobody would be picking the Colts to win. Why not see what you got in Anthony Richardson? You could decide that you want to move on after the year if he continues to struggle. But definitely a dual threat quarterback definitely puts probably more fear in opposing defenses than Joe Flacco, as Flacco certainly not looking like the Joe Flacco we saw last season with Cleveland. And as good as Flacco was with Cleveland, he could be turnover prone during his time with them. And we actually saw it in the postseason game against the Houston Texans. But what are your thoughts? Should the Colts just go back to Anthony Richardson? Being that they're 4-6, yes, the AFC is not a good conference towards the bottom of the playoff picture, where teams that are 4-6 are only a game out. But Joe Flacco struggled mightily in his in his past 2 starts. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.